clicked on the right video, and that's because I'm gonna be giving you an editing pack for free.
Yay!
This Polaroid pack comes with 3 overlays, 1 PSD to fully customize it. You can put your name there, the artist name. Honestly, you can put whatever you really want. Go check the description, download it right now so you can follow along in the tutorial. And while you're down there, drop a like on the video and subscribe if you're not. You can see there are 3 folders, film overlay 1, 2, and 3. And then inside there, you can see there's all these different elements. You can move around literally everything inside of here. So say you wanted the play button up here for some reason. Instead of Kodak, you wanted to say your name, like Brian. Spell my name right, Brian. These are fully customizable. You don't really need to do this because a lot of times when you're going to be using it, it's going to be really quickly. But if you wanted to use it for like Instagram photos or something, in Premiere Pro, I have some footage from the new Summer's music video, and you can see I made this cut right here. I'll have all the credits to everyone that shot, edited, and the song linked down below. Now I want to show you the transition that I already came up with. So we're going to be recreating this right here. And I want to show you guys the importance of sound design on a project. So here is the transition with no sound effects at all. Still looks cool, but you don't really feel it. And then when we add our 3 shutter sound effects, I'm not even gonna add the atmosphere yet, just so you can hear the difference between all of them. How much of a massive difference that makes. And then finally, just adding some atmosphere, a little whoosh and a hit, you can hear what this sounds like. So yeah, I'm gonna be going through showing you how I did all of that. So to get started with the transition, you either need photos or just stills from your video. So if you have photos from the shoot, feel free to use those. If you don't, no worries, you can just take screenshots from your video. Go to this export frame, you can hold Control-Shift-E if you like. When you click that, I normally just use JPEG. I'm gonna click import into project, and now you see it will be in your project. I already went ahead and did that and named them 1, 2, and 3. And then I also imported the 3 film overlays. So I'm actually working on a more full version of this pack with more Polaroids, film overlays, just a lot more of this stuff, very similar to this, but just way more in depth and customizable. I already think this one's super fire, and I wanted to give it to you guys for free. Just test it out, see if you like it. And then there's gonna be a way more in-depth version in the future. So next, all you do is really drag in your film overlay, and depending on your comp size, you might have to right click and click scale to frame size. Then once you can see the film overlay on the screen, just right click on it, go to nest. We'll just name this 1, and then inside that nested sequence, drag on the first image you want to use. So we'll drag in our image, and then using the motion, you can click and drag and kind of move your image where you want it to be inside the frame, just so it has some good framing. Don't worry about any of the black bars that are outside of the portrait. Just make sure that the photo is taking up the full inside of it. So that looks good for me. Under effects, I'm going to use the crop effect and drag it onto our image. You click on crop here. Now you can just click and drag. If you don't want to do that, you can also just use these sliders. I just find it easier to click and drag, and then just make sure that none of it is showing outside of the borders. So it should just be the film portrait, and then the only time you see the actual image is inside of the film portrait. Then going back to our main sequence, you can see now it's just like a little portrait, and it's just the image and the portrait together. So that's exactly what we want. And then just go ahead and do that for the other 2 film overlays. I'm going to scale down to frame size, make sure to nest it, name it 2, go inside that, drag in the image we want, scale it to fit however you want. Pro tip, if you click on motion here, instead of using the sliders, you can just kind of position it and scale it how you want. And for us, that's looking pretty good. Go back, drag that crop effect on, and then let's do that to our 3rd and final film overlay. Again, just nest inside the nested sequence, drag in your photo, and then crop it. And with this transition, I wanted it to go from left to right, kind of look like it's spilling out, like you're like throwing some pictures on the table. You get what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and make these nested sequences last roughly like 7 frames. I'm not going to have them last all the same. I think that helps with like these picture freeze frame effects when they're all like different lengths and they're not all the exact same. And then let's focus on the first one right now. So let's turn off those first 2, and then let's click on motion on our first one and kind of just line it up where we want. So let's do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on motion again and click Control C, and then click Control V on the 2. And now it's just going to be covering that, but now it's at least the same size, and we can go and kind of just like rotate these and change them how we want. And then I'm going to copy the motion from the second one and apply it to the 3rd one, but also make sure it's actually on, and then drag it over here. And then we can play around with how long we want everything to last. So I kind of settled on this where it goes 2 frames, and then the second image pops up, and then it goes 3 frames, and then the 3rd image pops up, and they're all together for 1, 2, 3 frames. And then that first one goes down, and then every frame after one just disappears. So something like that. And now this is the part where we need to animate these photos popping up. And to do that, I think I'm going to use use my energy presets, and then I'm gonna drag Le Shake onto the first nested sequence. When we play that, you can see it's shaking all the way through, but I kind of just want it to shake for like the first few frames. So let's go like 4 frames forward and then delete all of the keyframes after. I also just drug out the nested sequence and deleted all the keyframes back there, so there's no movement after. And then I'm gonna go back to that original spot. Now we have that little shake and it kind of falls into place. I'm just gonna copy that new version and paste it onto 2 and 3. Now we got some nice shake between all 3 of them. And then for my essentials pack, in the transition pack, I'm gonna be using Flash 2, and let's bring that on the Polaroid, and then I'm going to tweak it. I only really want the flash to last 2 frames, so then I'm just going to bring those keyframes so it ends a little bit sooner, so it has that quick flash. And then I just made a mask using this rectangle tool, and I'm going to drag this like this, so it's only showing halfway through. It has that flash, like kind of like a photo is taken, you can see like that. And then let's go ahead and copy and paste that onto the second one, and then also onto the third one. And then if you do that crop thing that I did, where it's like flash only halfway through, you want that above the shake. And then lastly, to sauce up the image, I'd probably just add on some kind of drop shadow. I just like drop shadow. I think it makes it look pretty nice. And the opacity up to 100, distance down to 0, and the softness maybe like 100. And then I'll just copy and paste that again to the other 2. It's barely noticeable, but it's just something that makes it look a little bit better. And now when we turn back on the music, just so you can kind of see how it would be in the music video, looks pretty good. I like it, but it is just missing a little bit of that sauce, and the sauce is sound effects. So just like the example that I showed you earlier, I'm gonna add 3 camera shots from the Essentials sound effects pack. And when you're adding sound effects, you basically just wanna use the waveform and kind of look where you want it to line up. It's gonna make it a lot easier to line up and make it actually sound like it's on point. When we play that, might be a little too late. Yeah, you want that first tick to kind of be where it's popping up, and then just holding Alt on my keyboard, I'm gonna drag it down 1 layer and then do the exact same thing, and then 1 more time for that third. I'm gonna highlight all 3 of these and then just adjust that audio gain by like -2, just make it a little bit more subtle. And then from the impact folder in the Essentials sound effects pack, I'm gonna add this impact echo. And let's solo that just for a second. We can kind of visualize where we want it. We want this, I'm gonna make a marker right where it kind of hits, where the transition takes place. Let's drag that there. Also, it goes on for a little too long. Let's just cut that, add a exponential fade, and then let's mute the song for a second and just play it with sound effects. And then I kind of just lined up the audio so it's like 1, 2, 3, and then instantly after that, the hit happens. And then playing it with the song. I think I'm also just going to add a flash 1 and then flash 2 onto these clips in the background. That way, when we turn off these clips here, you can see there's just a nice little flash transition. It just helps sell the effect a little bit more. Basically everything that I'm doing now is just like super minor that just helps out a little bit. And then AO made these sound effect presets for the Essential bundle. I'm gonna use the AO Reverb 2 on that third camera to kind of change the texture of the sound, and that third one to kind of signify that it's the last one. We can go ahead and solo these 3 just so you can hear what that sounds like. You can hear how that last one kind of has like a more hollow, like it's in a big room. Just those little sound design things help out a lot when you're like telling a story. And then I'm also gonna use that beef preset on the background sound so you can hear what it sounds like before. It sounds pretty good, but it's very crisp. When you add this beef, it kind of like muddies it out a little bit. It makes it sound like a lot more full. We got the sound design done. We got the effect done. This is what it looks like. Anyways, yeah, this is all I got for you guys in this one. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like the video. That's all I got for you guys in this one. Peace.